What's up, guys?
No.
Welcome. No.
So cooked.
Welcome to Trims and Talk.
What's going on?
All the credits.
I just wanna talk with my brothers, is that too much to ask? Might as well look sharp, cause I'm doing it too. Trims and talk. Trims and talk. Trims and talk. I wanna know.
Hello.
Yeah,
We've not really introduced
Yeah,
Right into it there, sir. I'm Donald, and along with Longani, you know, we have this podcast there where Trims and Talk. You know, the idea is that actually we try and get some of the conversations which take place in the barbershop, but obviously probably also in a hair salon as well. And we know that both the barbershop and the hair salon are places of, I'm going to quote from McCall there, that they're places of sanctuary.
Oh, absolutely.
And the places of sanctuary, places of healing there, where black people, people of African descent, they're able to sort of like share with one another in a safe environment. And some of the things you're saying there, you know, they've been sort of echoed in the barbershop, and of course they've been said repeatedly in hair salons, and it's really quite demoralising to hear that still.
Yeah, and think about it in this sense. I've gone to the University of Hull. Sorry, I've done my teaching qualification for a year, and then I've gone into further education, hoping to change for them to see that there's development to be made. And all I'm getting is a door shut in my face. We don't have the funding. But people of colour have been here for
over
70 years. 70 years, the Windrush generation. Yeah. So you can't now then turn around and say, we don't have the funding. You've had money for 70 plus years, like you're saying.
But in a way, isn't it? I mean, you're supposed to reflect the population you have.
Exactly.
So if the population you have, just from a market point of view, I mean, I was in Tesco's the other day down at Archer Road, and I was going down one of the aisles, and down the aisles were big packets of rice, etc. there. Now, when I first came to Sheffield 40 years ago, you were not getting big packets of rice, in which clearly they know their market. You know, there's a large Asian population there, there's a large African population in that area there, where people want to buy rice and plantains and things like that. They just put it in.
And again, even some of the makeup brands like Fenty, for example, Rihanna's brand, she brought out 40 different foundation shades because she knew there was a demand.
Yes.
Whereas no other brands were doing it.
Yeah.
It went to a certain shade and then kaput, it stopped. But we weren't catered for. You know, I remember as a young girl going into Boots with my friends at school, and they had the Maybelline Mousse, which was absolutely horrendous. 2 shades. We are not the same shades, and we don't have the same undertone.
No.
So again,
And we have many shades.
exactly, we have many different shades.
Look at the three of us here.
Different shades. It's true.
Many shades.
And that's my point. Like, some brands are looking at their community and realising we are not serving our community. And I think I read a couple of years ago, by, is it 2050 or 2060, we're all going to have some sort of mixture of colour in us.
Yes, it's frightening some people out there. We know that.
It is
But let's
frightening
not
some.
be GB News.
Yes, exactly. It is frightening some people, but again,
That's reality.
It is reality. You love who you love. You want to be with who you want to be, and you know. I spoke to my grandmother. My grandmother is from Guyana, and I remember when my cousin, I think it was my cousin Lily, was born, and my nan said, "Oh, you may not know this, but this is how our family line started. It was it was a mixture of different ethnics, all blended together." And she said to me, it's so nice to see the family expanding and changing again. You know, so again,
Yeah, yeah. So it's
we have
something
to-
which comes from the heart for you, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, and as a little girl, I remember as well, my mother had makeup and it was called, I think it was Fashion Fair. But this was like gold dust, absolute gold dust. I wasn't allowed to play with that. That was all hell could break loose. And, you know, I remember getting on the train or going in the car to London to source
Yeah.
this particular makeup brand, what was for us. Whereas now we have changed and evolved. I can easily now walk into Boots on Fargate in Sheffield, and there's several different brands in there what cater for our foundation type now.
So you have that in the sort of commercial sector. One would expect that to be replicated in the educational sector.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so, there were so many times as a teacher in FE, I would go home and I'd cry because there was nothing I could do, you know. And as a teacher, you do not want to fail your students. That is one of the worst things that can happen to you, that none of them have passed their qual. But on the back end of that, you want to give them encouragement. You want them to walk out of that door and feel empowered. But as a teacher, I knew I weren't doing that and I was letting them down. And it used to really, really, really hurt because there was nothing I could do unless I used my own wages to go to Boots or Superdrug or Primark and buy a different ranges. But then that was not, I've got bills like everybody else to pay. So again, you look at the curriculum and further education, why are we not changing? Why are we still stuck in this, it's one way and that's how it has to be, which is not, you're not serving the community and you're not serving the people that are employing them either, because they're not employable on the back end of it. You know, I'm in a few makeup WhatsApp groups, and again now, when they're putting up jobs, you have to be able to work on darker skin. You have to be able to work on Afro skin. So it's now a requirement for employees, but the education system is still far behind.
Which is incredible, isn't it, really? If you've got this sort of like the commercial, the employers are basically saying, this is our market, you know.
Yeah.
They're doing it out of, in a sense, there's a demand, they want to sell stuff, they want to make money, etc. And there's money to be made. We know that actually for African women spend more money on hair products and hair beauty stuff than any other.
I think we spend about, I think it's either $1 trillion I read or maybe $1 billion in a year on hair products, makeup, skincare. So again, there is a market there. So there is a scope to cater for that. But again, they don't. But I know I was a guest speaker at the Tones of Beauty, and that is like similar to, I think it's the Professional Beauty Show. And again, that's bringing in people with melanin-rich skin, African, Caribbean, and they're all coming, the expertise together to build something. And it's such a wonderful opportunity. So I always say to people, if you get the chance, I think it's on the 1st and the 2nd of July, to go down to London, to the Excel, to the Tones of Beauty, and see what is going on the wider scale of things, and how we're trying to change and make it more inclusive.
But then some people will probably kind of say, then why do we still need makeup in this day and age?
Well, that's true. That's true. Because if you are looking after your skin, you technically don't need it all the time. But there are people what do feel like it isn't necessary for them to make them feel confident and strong to go out into the world. So again, it comes down to preference. I personally don't wear makeup every day because, one, I just don't have the time. I don't have the time.
This is an interesting question because, I mean, there is that you see with young women, in particular young girls, 16-year-olds, and it doesn't really matter, all races, all tones. They've got this thing where I used to work in a sixth form, so I did see it, where you'd have, you know, African girls, Caribbean girls, Asian girls, Somali girls, white girls. They'd all be made up.
Yeah.
And, you know, at 16, when, you know, 16, your skin's at its very best.
Exactly. So again, I think we have to somewhat hold social media accountable for this because when I was 16, we didn't have social media, you know, and we didn't have a clue of how to do skincare or makeup unless you was going into that industry. So now we've got a big boom of YouTubers and influencers, whereas now they are learning a lot faster than we did when we were younger. So they are more experimenting. But then I do wonder, in the long run, like you said a minute ago, their skin is at their very best. Where is it going to be in 20 years?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, whether they're 16 to 25, are falling into that gap of Botox, fillers. And it's such a shame because, again, the research of how that will look in 50 years' time is still not developed.
Yeah.
Whereas if you think about liposuction and breast augmentation and nose jobs and stuff like that, we have that research. We know what it's going to look like. You know, they always say now that if you've had breast enlargement, you need to, every 10 years, get it redone. But we don't know how Botox or fillers are going to react in the face as we get older.
Which just, you know, I mean, for women, there clearly is, you know, this incredible sort of like social pressure to look a particular way.
Absolutely.
And I think increasingly, since, you know, we're talking about men as well, that it's for men as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Men, you know, we're being told you're supposed to look like X and Y and all the other ways.
Yeah, like body dysmorphia is becoming more and more popular for men and women. I feel sorry for men because now you can go on to Instagram and it's all about being in the gym and lifting this weight and taking steroids to get bigger and stuff like that. So again, we have got to a kind of place where body dysmorphia is becoming more and more and more popular, and it is frightening, especially with the young girls, because again, hair extensions, makeup, you know, wanting to use these face filters, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so again, we are getting to very much, and it's quite scary when you sit back and you think about it, because we're starting to morph into one person.
Or like a particular look.
Yeah, and body-wise as well. You know, how many women recently have passed because they wanted a BBL and stuff like that, and women have been travelling abroad to have cosmetics to look a certain way, you know, and it's getting...
There is an whole industry, isn't there,
Yeah.
behind that there? I mean, you hear about people going off to Turkey and getting X, Y, and Z done, and then it goes wrong.
Yeah.
And then you come back with a big afro. For us.
Hey, tell
You
me
know?
where that is.
No, for
The
real.
hair transplant one is
Is
a
it
big
there?
one.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a
big-
hair transplant. It's
Yeah,
a big,
yeah.
very, very big one. I think I saw it on Instagram. It was ages ago, though. And there was this video, and this guy was on a flight, and he must have been coming back from Spain or Turkey, and the whole rolls was men.
It's got like
with
bandages.
with bandages in the back of their head, and I was just like, what? So again, that body dysmorphia, again, is like you have to have this luxury long hair. But again, that's again with
When I look at the footballers, and I have to
Yeah, yeah,
say,
you remember
I am
when-
so envious.
I don't watch football.
of the
Remember when
footballers.
we-
They've all got this
You know
fantastic
what you mean?
hair, and I'm
Hey,
thinking,
you-
like lions.
You remember, because the first case was the Wayne Rooney one,
Yeah.
when Wayne Rooney started losing his hair.
Oh, yes,
and he had to have his,
Yeah, then we all.
yeah, and he had to have his,
But
his
now
hair
you see a
transplant.
lot of the black footballers when they're doing it in the rows, and then they've got the bush bit there, and I'm thinking, how have you got hair like
It's
that?
genetics, bro.
But even no,
it's either genetics or it's good hair
good hair products, and I'm
And it-
envious.
and
Okay, that's the bottom line to it. I'm envious.
But there we go. That's where the slope starts. You feel envious,
It's a slippery
and then you
slope.
go on the social media. Social media start pushing it to you, and then you're like, "Oh, yeah, it is starting to thin," and then. Right, then you start going into Boots, looking at different products, and you use that for maybe 4 years, and then you're like, it's still not working. Okay, then I'll start hair transplant. So again, that's how that all starts again. And again, like for us women, we was told we had to have straight hair. We had to have straight hair. I remember being small and being very envious of when I was in the hair salon wanting straight hair. And I remember my mother saying, no. And I remember we was going on a trip to Jamaica, And I begged and I begged and I begged to get my hair permed. And at the age of 8, I started perming my hair. And I started doing that till I was, I think, 25, 26. And then I watched that Chris Rock documentary.
Oh, yeah. Good hair.
Good hair, yeah.
Good hair,
remember that was the phrase, wasn't it? She has good hair, you know.
Yeah. And after that, I was mortified of how bad these chemicals was for my hair, and I stopped. And I think last year, or was it? I think it might have been last year. They're now saying that these chemicals are causing fibroids and things like that for women, and making it very hard for us to have children. So, again, like I was saying about the Botox and the fillers, we don't know enough.
So in a way, really, I mean, you mentioned before about social media, and we know social media in so many respects, in so many areas, amplifies those issues which are there already, which have been long-standing issues there. And as you've been talking, it's, even that little bit of laughter and joke we had there about my sort of envy of those footballers with their hair there. And I'm thinking, well, actually, if I was a 16-year-old boy and I'm watching football on a regular basis and I see them guys there with such luxuriant hair and I don't have that, I might think, well...
But then, don't you think? Sorry to cut you.
Sorry. I was going to say, but after that, then you go onto social media and you're seeing these guys in the gym, they've got these long hair, and then it just starts spiraling and going down that route.
But don't you think that, really as society, that's how we've always been? The whole idea that, as much as we talk about trends in this day and age because of social media again, I think it's always been that way. You always looked at the other guy or the other lady, and you saw something that you wanted to emulate. Maybe it's just human nature.
I think maybe you're right about that, but I think with social media, whereas before when we was younger, it was, like you said, football on it, was it a Sunday or a Saturday? And then it was maybe a magazine every 2 weeks, every month, whereas now with social media, it's in our pockets 24/7. It's there in our face 24/7,
But then that then basically speaks to us as either as parents or as those who know. It's about education. You know what I'm saying?
Because it is about education, but it's still very hard, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, those forces are so strong.
And it's only just come out in the news, was it last week, the week before, that they've admitted that the platforms are addicted. So again, like I said, I still teach, and my gripe with majority of my students is get off the phone, and they honestly feel like something's going to happen within an hour that they're going to miss out on. And
But
it's
that's
so sad, because we grew up with no phones.
Yeah, that's true.
We grew up with no social media. I remember in 2007, I was on my way to the University of Derby, and that's when Facebook launched. And then the year after, I remember I came out of a class, and I think I had a BlackBerry, and I was emailing my tutor, and then I walked past my tutor's office, and I just thought, I'll go in. And she was like, I've just got your email. Like, oh. And she was, even then, that was a bit of a culture shock, because you'd have to wait days maybe to get a response back, because people didn't have that kind of access to their emails or anything like that. So again, I think sometimes we have to be a little bit lenient with the Gen Z generation, because they're really consumed by it and they don't know what it's like to not have it.
So when you're in your classes with these young people then, and all of the sort of messages you're trying to,
to put
across to them in terms of, looking after yourself, and taking your point there, Lungani, about people have always wanted to prettify themselves. You can go to the rock art of where it is of the First Nation people in Australia, to any people of anywhere, and they've always been prettying themselves. So it seems to be a natural thing to do.
It is natural. It is absolutely natural, because like for you, for example, in yourself, you probably learned how to shave your beards from your dads.
I've never shaved. I don't shave. Let me tell you, my beard.
If I shaved like my dad, I'd have cuts everywhere.
Let me tell you, no. This is like the most that it grows. So when I go to Andrew and Kevin's, it fades. It's usually just to, I don't know what I'm doing. It's just to scrape the head and probably kind of try and shave this thing.
I'm trying to get that look you see around at the moment of a certain type of sort of like elder, big man.
The elder. You mean the elder, the sage?
You know that look? I'm
You mean
trying
the
to
sage?
get that look, and I've not yet got it.
No, but I mean, like to your point, I think many of us I never saw my father shave. You know what I'm saying? Cause even like he used to just cut off his hair because he had curly hair. I think there was something in him, in terms of his bloodline, if you trace it down. So, and he grew up in that era back home where if you looked like the other, there were other connotations that came with that. So for him, he would shave his hair. He always was bald. No, like literally probably every other day he shaved his hair. But I never saw his beard. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's the same. My boy is probably got more facial hair than I do. But again, it's that. But for me, why this conversation here is an interesting one is because I have seen that, especially around young men, this concept of what do you call it, skincare regime.
Yeah.
You said that with a certain type of.
I have been fascinated. No. I have been fascinated about that.
You know why? It's because you're so into your routine, your skin routine. And what I mean by that is, I call it cavemen. That's what I nickname it as, because whatever your father did, you follow suit. And what I mean by that, if your father just used soap to shave his beard, that's what you did.
Yes.
You didn't go out to Boots and get the best Gillette razor. You just got a disposable one, and that did the job.
Oh, yes.
Whereas now, you're becoming, again, the brand industry, they're pushing more skincare and looking after yourself and well-being. Now you're taking an interest of, I don't want this plastic razor. I want a nice one. I don't want to use soap because soap's drying out my skin. And right, so Elemis then creates a range for men, shaving balms, aftercare solutions. It's the same with Clarins as well.
Yeah.
So before, you guys never had that.
No, there was no.
Moisturize our skin, and that was it.
Yeah,
No, it was Vaseline.
And out you went.
It was Vaseline.
Vaseline,
And I'm looking
body
good
lotion,
still.
Yeah, body lotion, whatever was on the side,
Yeah.
you just picked it up. Whereas now, men are I don't know if you've noticed as well, when you go into Boots, the men's range on their side has grown 10 times. You've got so many different deodorants, different skincare products. So again, we are changing because I think we're becoming more aware. And again, I'm not going to knock social media, but again, this is why it's good. They're educating as well of how we should be looking after our skin.
But again, back to that pretty fine bit there, and but it makes you feel good. You know when you're going out, and actually you sort of like. People, use a phrase like you scrub up.
Yes.
You scrub up and you feel good. Your skin feels good, your hair feels good, you've got your beard's been done well there, you got yourself some nice outfit, smell nice.
Oh,
you
yes.
think I'm top.
But then again, if you've noticed, you start to walk different as well. You walk with more confidence. You pull your shoulders back. And that's what it is. And I know people are like, but it's an illusion. Yes, it may be an illusion. But if that helps you get through your day, then why not? If you are not harming anybody, why not? And that's what I was going back to my point of wearing makeup for women. It gives them that self-confidence, that self-belief. That woman possibly may be going into a board meeting with 20 men, which are all snoring and saying she shouldn't be here, and she's got to get up there and give a presentation where they all probably might turn her back. But her wearing maybe that bright red lipstick gives her that power of authority of, yeah, I'm here and I'm here to make business. If you're not going to get on board, then get out the door.
Because the first time, actually, let me tell you, the first time, I mean, believe me, the first time I met Eleasha, I thought she was probably like 6'2". You know what? No, because she carries herself, you know, there's some people basically are like,
Yeah.
I know who I am, and therefore the way
There's a physical presence.
yeah, even
Yes.
like certain spaces that she inhabits. Because I met the first time I met you was around the Morbos.
I think so, yeah.
We may have met before, but around the Morbos, I started noticing that.
I feel left out of this, so I've not been to the Mobos.
Oh yeah, the Morbo Award. Not this year. The one when Sheffield had the
Yeah, the
Morbo
one we
Award.
had in Sheffield.
Yeah.
You must have done something. You must have gone to the Fringe at the Winter Gardens, though, for the Mobo Awards when it was in Sheffield.
No, but remember, he's a well-traveled. He probably was abroad.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I
These
did
ones
go-
were always jet flying.
No,
everywhere.
don't you go there.
No, because he just came from Australia and China and stuff recently. So he's a guy who's well-traveled. So,
Okay.
or either when we were at the Mobiles, he was reading a riveting book.
He's out of order. He's out of order. I wasn't, even if I was at the Mobo, I wasn't on the inside.
She was on the inside. I was on the outside, looking in.
I was on the inside, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And I can't wait. And I hope that I get to go back next year, and that'll be like my 4th year running. But it is a beautiful thing to see at the Mobo Awards. So much talent in the room, and so much energy. Honestly, I can't explain like the build up to the Mobo Awards. Like, I can't explain it, especially when you're in on the inside. The build up, the day that you arrive and you're getting your passes and you're trying to find where rooms are and and you're watching the rehearsals and you're trying to time where you need to be and stuff, and then the show goes live at a certain time and all that what goes into it. Like, I only found out this year that I was in a car with one of the people that are on the production team, and she said, if we don't go live at a certain time when we're meant to do, we get fined. I was like, you do? So again, even I'm learning, but again, then we have it, and then, you have the show and then the after party and then that's it. Then you see everyone the next month, bye, and we're all either going back to Scotland, London, Manchester, Liverpool, wherever, and it's like, what just happened to me? Because I can't describe it, because you have to be there, you have to
What
feel
you
the
do
environment.
describe, just in the emotion you give, is what an incredible, wondrous experience it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And everybody, and
Yes.
also usually, I mean, like everybody looks a certain. They look good.
Ex-
They,
absolutely.
they exude
Yes.
this thing, and I guess
And
that's why.
And exudes also about confidence as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of you, going back to that point you're making there about makeup and looking after yourself, or having that occasion where you just sort of slightly indulge yourself,
Yeah.
is to
Yeah.
give yourself a little confidence.
Yeah.
And we all need a little bit of that from time to time, don't we?
Absolutely. If none of us had confidence, and that's something that I do try to help my students with. We've got a very bad pandemic of anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
But again, it's their confidence of walking into a room and just asking the basic thing of, can I get a pen? Can I, they go to a shop, could I have a coffee, please?
And that is so much about life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because every step which you make into the unfamiliar is about confidence.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Otherwise, you will stay where you are. But to grow, you have to do that, don't you?
Absolutely. I remember when I got the call when Mobo Awards came to Sheffield, and it was from Ruth McDonald.
Oh yeah, Ruth McDonald. Yeah.
And Ruth said, Eleasha, they're short of makeup artists. We need to send you down there. And I was like, no, Rufus, I'm not going to go. Thank you.
You can
But
make all
thank-
sorts of excuses.
Yeah,
eh?
I was making every excuse under the sun, and Ruth was like, "It doesn't matter whether you say yes or no. You're still going because I've pulled your space at the Millennium Gallery. So it's just tough. That's where you have to be." And and I say to my students, I was petrified. I didn't know what I was walking into. I didn't know what it was going to be like, but I took that opportunity and I ran with it.
Yeah, and that's really important, isn't
Yeah.
it? For young people, they need to have to be given a little bit of that sense of that, a little bit of confidence to step out.
Yeah.
Because you have to step out. Nothing in life you're going to achieve, whatever it is, without a little bit of stepping out.
Exactly.
But then also, I think, especially for either us, the older heads, I mean, because we never really have those conversations with our young people about, representing oneself, really. And also, I think there's always that assumption that somebody's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause,
Until it's basically,
Yeah.
if not you, who?
Then who, yeah.
But I think a lot of the youngsters do rely quite heavily on their parents, siblings, cousins, whereas I think for us, we had militant parents. You just have to get on with it.
Yeah, no, you had.
You go in the shop. I'm giving you £10. Go pay the lady.
Yeah, go pay
How
the
much did
lady.
you get back? Oh, and again, they don't have that confidence to do those things. And again, for me as a teacher, it is me helping them to overcome those kind of
So
struggles.
what sort of, when you get these young people, and are they both male and female?
Yeah.
When they come to you there, I mean, how do they sometimes come to you, and what do you do with them, and how do they come out the other side there?
So for me, when they come to me, when they've come to do their first visit, for example, they're normally quite shy and they're hiding behind their guardian who's come with them and their school teacher what's come with them. But it's about me showing them that there is more opportunities than you're aware of. So it's just having a general chit chat and then explaining to them about me and the things that I've had to overcome. Like, I've got dyslexia. I remember at school, my school teacher told me, you'll be nothing. You're going to be better off going to Tesco and stacking shelves because you're never going to make anything of yourself. And I always try to say to them, that is just not the truth. I run 2 businesses, and I still have my own home. I'm still part of the community. It is possible. It just means you're going to have to work that little bit harder than others. It's okay to have a learning difficulty, whether it's ADHD or a different form of neurodiversity. It's absolutely fine. Your brain just works in a different way. Just have to figure that out and just take your time. So once they then start, it's about, right, so what do you do at home to make yourself feel beautiful? And they might be like, oh, well, I've just gone to Primark, I've got a couple of face masks. I don't think I want to go into being into makeup or beauty. And I'm like, that's fine. That's absolutely fine if you don't want to have a career in it. But what would be good is if you learn these skills, just so you know how to look after your own body. And if you're going for an interview, because you're all going to soon want to get a Saturday job, and, you need to be able to present yourself. And not even that, at some point, further on down the line, which I'm hoping is quite far down the line, that you'll want to have children and you'll want to show them how to look after their skin. And they're like, oh, I didn't see it like that. So once we've got to that part, again, it's then helping them understand the practical. I kind of work a bit backwards as a teacher. I get them doing practical straight away. Because if I get them doing theory, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. They lose interest. They can't see the point. So I work backwards. Get them doing something practical first. Then we'll start implementing theory. And then I'll get them to do their assessment. Once they've done their assessment, I'll be like, look, you did it. There's your certificate. You've done it. And it doesn't matter if you don't want to do beauty. But these things can help you. You could even do it as a little side hustle if you decide to go to university. You could be doing mini facials or doing people's makeups when they want to go out.
But it's also a big business.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
I mean,
very big business.
I mean, it's like I have a niece she's doing fashion design, and my mum, her grandma, was a seamstress.
Oh, wow.
So it's really beautiful to actually see that sort of link there. For my mum, the opportunities were just to be a seamstress, and she used to make dresses for people when they're going home back to Jamaica or wedding day. You know, go Miss Mac Yard or Aunt Girlie Yard, and she will whatever. So it's great. And then she's into the fashion bit, and we know the fashion world's a big world,
Yeah.
not just in terms of sort of like going down the the catwalk. It's also about the designing and everything else like that.
But
But the
you-
same is true of the area of beauty, isn't
Yeah,
it?
because I think a lot of people think makeup just happens. It
Yeah.
doesn't, but it follows fashion. And I'll always say to my students, right, you need, if you, whatever industry you're wanting to get into within makeup, say for example, like for me, I like to do more bridal makeup. I'll watch Bridal Fashion Week to see what the latest trends are coming out, because I know they're going to filter down
Yeah.
to us eventually. But if I can get a bit ahead of the game of what the makeup looks
And
is
we
going
know
to be.
that for weddings, there's some money being spent.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can have a small wedding and you can have a large wedding. But again, everybody's budget is different. But like I'll always say to my brides when I'm doing wedding fairs, don't think the person you want to book for your makeup and hair is going to be available on the year you want to get married. You have to book them a year in advance, because we are normally 10 to a year in advance booked.
Yeah.
Like I'm already getting bookings for 2028 and I've already had an inquiry for 2029. So again,
I said again, I wouldn't even have thought about that.
No, 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 no. No one does. No one
No
does.
one does.
No one
Like
does.
photographers in the wedding industry, again, they're booked up at least 2 years in advance.
So in your case, why did you? What was it? Why did you go into kind of makeup and stuff? As an area of pursuit.
So for me, it was, as a young girl, I used to sit and watch my mother get beautiful. Killing her hair, doing her makeup. And I used to think to myself, God, she's absolutely beautiful. I used to think, wow. And then that's where, again, my curiosity started into beauty and makeup. Again, like I said, back then, I couldn't go into Boots and get products and stuff like that. So again, it was always just watching the closest person who had these products to admire, really. And then after that, I went and did obviously GCSEs, and then I got the GCSEs I needed to do beauty. I spent 4 years at college doing different beauty courses and stuff. Then I went and worked out in the industry for a while. Then I went back to university to study international spa management at Derby University. So that's kind of how my career kind of projected. And then when I came out of uni, couldn't get a job at a spa, but then I ended up working for a makeup brand as a business manager. And then again, that makeup love started growing back. So again, that's how I kind of fell into that industry, really. I hate saying fell into it, but I wanted to pursue it.
Yeah. But like we were talking about the fact that, there hasn't really been much access in terms of products that for people like us. Why isn't many of us actually doing something around that space? Because I know, many of us, we will talk about, we have no access, there's no products that are for us.
We make the products ourselves.
Yeah, because recently somebody said, the master will never give you the keys to
I started up
the
my
tools to burn down their house.
Of that nature.
Oh, yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Except if you're Rihanna.
Yeah.
Rihanna. Yeah.
But the thing is, again, when you look at Rihanna's brand, she built that over time and she had that kind of financial backing. I started my own lipstick range during COVID because I'm not a DIY person, can't do DIY for anything.
Yeah.
But the overheads to make it is so grand. You need a good maybe 20, 50,000 to do it. And again, how many of us have got that?
So it's a financial thing.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because in a way, Rihanna's an exceptional case because she's not
Exactly.
only, she can attract money.
Exactly.
So, you'd invest in Rhiannon there to sort of like put her name to something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as you say, for the small to medium, you need so much money in the, whatever it is.
Exactly. And, it's also having the space. For example, if you wanted to make hair oils and stuff like that, it's where can you source them at a reasonable price that you can afford? And again, it's so hard to do something. This is why I was saying about coming to Tones of Beauty, because there are people who are shaking the industry.
And are we
and trying
starting to see some changes then in terms of, be it in the distribution and the availability? And I know often we think, it's all in London. And London in a sense has got to be the centre because it's a world city.
Yeah.
And therefore you're going to get all those things there. But is there a sense when you're there that you can see things changing?
Oh, absolutely. I felt so inspired when I went last year to Tones of Beauty, because for me, being in that industry and being up north, I can feel very much isolated and alone, like I'm just banging on a wall by myself. So being in that space was so encouraging, because I was like, no, you're an expert, but you're just up there. But that doesn't mean you are alone. You're still part of us down here in London. So you can see that there's a lot of pockets where things are moving and shaking. Again, nothing happens overnight, does it? So again, we're building and we're moving, and that's all we can do. But it's about bringing us all together and, talking about it and sharing our ideas and pulling together. Because if we all start trying to pull in different directions, we don't go anywhere, as we already know.
So, for you, who has been the greatest encouragement for you to pursue what it is that you are? Because I'm sure, like, for those of us either in the creative space and stuff, the encouragement wasn't in our families. Like if you came to your parents and say, I want to play music.
Absolutely not.
Not. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely
That kind
not.
of thing. Let alone, kind of starting thing around makeup and stuff. Because our community, there are certain things that we had to do because either it was we were trying to bridge a gap. So we never saw that as a
Doctors,
way.
lawyers,
We never saw it as a viable way of doing life. So music, as much as we were talented, it wasn't the place to go. Let alone, like kind of this industry about beauty and stuff. And
Well,
what is
actually,
it?
I'm just going to slightly counter that. I mean, one of the things we found just on doing the podcast and the people we've spoken to, and you're very much a part of this, Eleasha, the number of people we've spoken to who have broken that mould. They've stretched things, and they have become, essentially, that person who you can see, you can follow. If you can't see it, you can't be it.
Yeah,
No, you
absolutely.
can't. That's what I mean.
Where, the people we've had on this show, and you're another example of that, you are someone who you can see, who for younger people and other people say, you know what, I can do that.
Yeah.
She's doing that, I can do that. And
Yeah.
it's so important, isn't it, to
Yeah,
have that?
it is so important to have that person or a group of people that you look at and be like, oh yeah, she's done it. I
Yeah.
can do it. And I think for me, I don't know if there was any like one person that I looked at, but there were several different people. So when I went to university, technically I never wanted to go to university. Again, it was that whole thing when our parents were like, you're going to university.
Give yourself a degree.
Yeah, and I'm like, absolutely not. And when I had older friends, and I'd hear their conversations of the debt they were in, and I was like, absolutely not. I was not doing this. And to be honest, I went to university by accident, and it was an accident.
Fair.
It was, and I'll
Good.
tell you the story. So I moved out when I was 21, and I moved up at Norton. And does anyone remember we used to get those little newsletters came through the post?
What kind of newsletter?
It was just like a newsletter. What was like your local
Oh, like
newsletter?
Flyers
yeah.
8, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And on the front cover there was this girl what said she was going to the university to study international spa management. And I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I remember I took the newspaper down to my sister and I said, oh, I'm kind of interested in doing this course. So she rang and they was like, oh, yeah, we'll see her on Thursday. So me and my friend drove down to Buxton because I was based at the Buxton campus, and Michelle O'Connor was going to be my tutor, and she did my interview. And she literally just went, yes, you're in, you start Monday, and I can guarantee you will go far. You are going to go absolutely far. I can see it in you. I don't know what it is. You are going to go far. And I was like, oh, okay. And Monday I started classes.
Yeah.
That's why I said me going to university was an accident, because I remember I went back to my parents' home later on that day when I got in and just said, oh, I've got in. They went, what? You going to university? Like, they was even shocked because I had no intentions of ever going to university. I had no interest in it, especially with the debt. I didn't want that. But then in the next breath, what am I actually going to do? So,
Yeah.
so for me, like I had Michelle Obama is probably one of mine, and then I had Michelle O'Connor. You know, I think I must have been about me. No, I was 25 when I started university. To have that somebody sit me down and just say straight away, you are going to go far.
Which is about that, sometimes having someone having some belief in you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we all need somebody, it doesn't matter who they are, what they are,
Yeah.
but sometimes who just thinks, I can see something in you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll never forget, I think I was in my second year at university, and Michelle O'Connor had not seen me for a week. I'm not attending classes, and she rang me, and I can remember exactly where I was stood. I was stood outside John Lewis, and she rang and she went, Eleasha, where have you been? Where are you? And I went, I'm in Sheffield. She's like, where have you not been to classes for the past week? I've checked the register and you've not attended. What's going on? I went, I just don't think university's for me. I can't do it. I'm really struggling with my dyslexia. I'm really not achieving much, and I think this was a bad idea. Nope. She went, what are you gonna do then? I went, I guess I'll just get a job in a supermarket. I'll try and figure it out. No. We are not doing that. I will send an email to the support team, and we'll look at getting you the correct support you need to complete your course. But I expect to see you on Monday in class. And if you're not in class on Monday, I have your address in Sheffield. I will be driving to Sheffield and I will be coming to your house.
There's some tough love going on there.
And I was like, Michelle, I will see you in class on Monday. And I went to class on Monday, and she came into class to make sure I was there. And I couldn't have asked for any better support.
And sometimes that thing where you feel as if someone really they've got something for you, which you just think, hey, this is, you have me back sometimes, but.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the same way as I teach.
Yes.
I believe in all of my students, whether they want to do beauty or if they want to go on and, I think one of my students wants to do criminology or something. And I was like, fantastic. Right, what do we have to do? What do we need to do to get to that goal? And I always try to be that teacher that Michelle O'Connor was to me.
Yeah.
Not the teacher that told me when I was at school I'd be nothing more than good at stacking shelves in a supermarket, because that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. So, you know, because I was a teacher for a long time, and what I get from you, I was talking about this yesterday, we were walking with someone who was a fellow teacher, and I was saying something about this idea that in teaching there, you really have got to lift the person.
Oh,
You've got to lift them to make them feel as if that, you know, she was talking about this school and it's not doing very well, etc., etc. And I was sort of saying to her, yeah, because in some cases, the teachers aren't very good. That's the bottom line to it. Yeah. They're not very good, and they're not interested in the kids and all those other bits there. But
to defend them though, if you are now if you're a teacher in the education, you are getting pressure from upper management. You're getting pressure from the students, the pressure from the parents.
It's a hard job.
It's such a hard job.
It's a difficult job.
I'm so glad I did it for 40 years. I was tired at the end of it.
To
But
be
you-
honest,
but-
that's
but
why
you-
I came out, because
but-
at 10 years I was tired.
Yeah,
I
but
was
listening
tired.
to you, I mean, you've got fire in your belly.
No, it's
You've
true,
got
it's true.
fire
it's true.
in your belly there, which I'm just going to try. I'm trying to ask this question there about you as a teacher, which is really about when you have these young people in your sort of charge as such. What do you want? What are you looking for? The experience they're going to have with you.
Yeah.
For me, it's for me personally as a teacher, when I've got them in the room, I know this sounds terrible, but I don't mean it sound terrible, but I'm not bothered if they don't achieve the qual. That's not it. For me, it's about seeing them shine. They've come and they're all, ooh. And then you see them blossom into this flower. The confidence is growing.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I know, right, the confidence is starting to grow. I can start pushing them a little bit more. Then they grow a little bit more. Then I start pushing them a bit more. And yes, I should be focused on getting them through their qualification, because that's what it is when you're in further education. You just need to get them through. For me, it's not about that. It's getting them ready to face the world outside. And we all know from our own experience, whether it was good or bad, we've all had a few good and bad experience outside in the world. And again, with them suffering how they did in COVID and the lockdowns with their mental health, they are more delicate than we are. Than we were. We were very resilient, very resilient. You could drop us in the middle of the ocean and we'd somehow figure it out. Whereas now...
Well, although we do know, I mean, again, get back to what we do here and the work I do, Sacrament, places like that, people, I'm going to say metaphorically drowned.
Yeah.
They drowned and they are
yeah.
drowning. And, it's how we can find ways to actually, get them to shore.
Exactly.
Get them to dry out, get them to actually sort of be able to go forward again. And what you're doing with your work there with the young people there, who in some cases are struggling at school, are being given opportunity to sort of look, make themselves feel good. Because if you don't feel good, it's really hard to excel.
Oh, absolutely.
It's impossible to excel if you don't feel good about yourself.
And before I went to the Mobile Awards, so Mobile Awards happened just during their start of their half term, I set them a task of, right, you've been asked to go to the Mobile Awards, you have to get to Corporate Live for 10 o'clock for showtime. How do you get from Sheffield to there? They didn't know. I said, you can't ask your parents for a lift, you can't ask auntie, grandma, anybody, how do you get there? I guess we take the bus. Right, what bus do we take? I don't know. But again, it's building them life skills in them to give them that confidence, because they're not always going to have an adult to hold their hands,
Well, it's a good exercise that, because it's a real...
I was going to ask you actually, Donald. I mean, I asked Eleasha about this, about her, the person who inspired her to actually get to where, who was part of her encouragement system. Who was yours?
Yeah.
Who's mine? Geez. I'd say the person in my second half of my career where I felt most myself was my principal. And I may have said this before. I was sort of a middle manager, and the post came up to be a senior manager as a deputy principal, vice principal. And I was finding excuses not to apply for it. Actually, there's two. There's more than that. But when I went to see her and said, I'm thinking about doing it, she said she was so pleased. I'm really pleased that you're going for it, etc. But the story I always like to say with that is I'd then gone down to London and was sort of to see my brother. And he'd just become a deputy finance director in a hospital. He's a year older than me. And I was doing a bit of work on his computer about this job. And I went back to Sheffield. And then I got a phone call later on. And he said, you've left your information about this job you're applying for. And I said, have I? Yeah. And he said, yeah, I hope you don't mind, but I read it. And I said, oh, that's okay. And he said, are you serious about this job? And I said, yeah. He said, you have to do better then.
So you had a Michelle Connor as well?
Yes, it was. You have to, but it's my brother. So I was thinking, you can't be talking to me like this. But he was right. Which was, if you want it, You have to put
You
that
have
work
to.
into it.
Oh,
And if you
absolutely.
don't put the work into it, don't bother going for it.
Yeah.
Yes, don't bother going for it. You whatever. So it was him in particular, because there's obviously that sibling bit there as well. I felt slightly. Well, I was more than slightly.
You felt some type of way.
I know how
Like-
you talk to me like this.
Yeah.
You think you're my dad.
It was yours.
Yes, it was yours.
I have no idea. To be honest, I think in my case, these conversations for me are usually what inspires me in a lot of contexts. You know, one thing I've learned, like in the last few years is I think we can't underestimate, the conversations we have with people. And I think sometimes if you are listening to others, you'll suddenly glean a variety of information. So my conversations that I have with people are so inspirational. I'm a believer that every conversation we have to either leave with a nugget that can help us until we have the next conversation.
Yeah.
Because
And-
remember, I came to this country just on my own, without any family, without any support. So
And that's
over
an
the years,
amazing achievement. And some of the youngsters now can't even leave Sheffield. Or some of
Yeah.
my students can't actually even get on the bus. They have a
That's
taxi
it.
provided for them to get them from home to the studio.
That's it. So for
So
me,
that's amazing.
it's the Clinton McCoys, the Leroy Wenhams, the Ogo Osamo, those guys who basically became my tribe and my family. And now the Donald McLeans, the elders. The elders.
What's also interesting, though, to pick up on
Yeah.
that again, which is, the intergenerational bit.
Yeah.
So when you're younger than, you and I, and, to hear, if you talk about that nugget, the nugget I will get from this conversation is really an emotion, which is the emotion which you generate, which is that
Yeah,
fire.
that's it.
That
That's
fire
it.
there, which is a very open fire.
No, it really is.
It is
No,
an
it really
open
is.
fire there, which is well prepared to say, no, it's not like that.
Yeah.
But it's not a fire which says, don't come close.
Yeah.
Right. It's a warming fire. It's like something which basically says, it warms you and it makes you feel as if, okay, I can go out there again.
Yeah.
And that's what sometimes, a lot of the time you do need that.
Oh,
No, we do,
absolutely.
we do.
Even I need that, and I've been very fortunate. Like I said, like the people that have inspired me. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I've had Ruth McDonald. I've had Christina Trindad. I've had Michelle O'Connor, Tim Heaps. I've had so many people that have inspired me to keep going,
Yeah.
even when there's a good possibility that I will have to just lay down, crawl in a corner, and just say
yeah.
that's
What do you
it.
do then when? Because again, one of the things which life tells us, and you've used that phrase about resilience, and some people's resilience, all of our resilience, sometimes is less than it should be. Sometimes, but for some people, it gets so battered that they
Yeah.
crumple a bit. What do you do to help yourself to keep yourself well?
I have now.
Besides go to the gym.
You at the gym? Are you
Yeah.
at Virgin?
Yeah.
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
I go 5 times a week.
Yeah.
So for physical, I would say mine's the gym. So I do 2 hours a week of Pilates, 2 to 3 hours of weight training, and then I do an hour of swimming. So I do quite a lot of physical activities. But for my mind, especially for the past 2 years, I have made sure the circle of people I have around me now are people that will help keep me on track, help me rebuild my resilience when I feel like I'm going through. Good example, last year, I'd say September to December, I was going through a very hard time with the business, and I was very, very worried, to the point I wasn't even sleeping because I didn't know how we was going to make it to the next day. And my friend Chloe McIntosh, which I think you guys should really interview, really good, she and Christina kept me going because I was like, this is it. there's going to be no other choice besides to close down the business and go back to work in a college, which is my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And that is my worst nightmare. And she'd be like, no, we are nearly at the end, Eleasha. We're nearly at the cross line here. We can do this. Just get everything else, what needs to be done and signed off. Just get it done. Just get it done. And again, I had my cousin Rebecca and my cousin Nathan and Chrissy, what was like, you are nearly there. And having that close people around you is so important when you feel like, especially in business and you're at your breaking point, is to have that good solid I don't want to call it community, but circle what keeps you together.
Because people say in business, and particularly for black business people, it's so lonely.
Oh yeah, I feel lonely all the time, but because now I've built up that circle, I have a wide range of people in that circle. Like I've got an amazing accountant. There's Chloe, she's a broker and bridging for mortgages. I have Christina, what's been in business for a long time. My accountant, Jan, he's been in business for a long time. So again, with those people that I have here in my circle, they know other people. So I've met those other people. So again, my circle has grown to the point where I can send a message to one of them and say, I need a solicitor for X, Y, and Z. Don't worry, I know somebody. Just within an hour or even a day, I've got their contact details. But like, oh, somebody from just passed on your details. Oh yeah, I've worked with them. What do you need? How can I help you? And again, that sometimes can help make business not as lonely.
Yeah.
And it is about like going to the Business Sheffield network events and building up your network again, because it is lonely. But when you have that small circle around you, that resilience, that loneliness doesn't feel as lonely anymore. And again, loneliness, if you carry on down that aisle or lane, it can lead to mental health problems.
Yeah, in all walks. I mean, loneliness is such a we know it's such a contributor to such ill health in people at what age, whatever situation, etc. Not having people who you feel you can trust, who can support you, who can be there.
My only advice with stuff like that, when there's people around you what you can no longer trust or you feel safe around, unfortunately you just have to cut ties. And it doesn't matter who they are, whether it's family, partners, whoever it is, you have to protect yourself, because then you become irrelevant to anything that you're trying to do.
And it's important, that point you made about safe, isn't it?
No, it is about safety.
You need, because to create deep, meaningful relationships, there's a vulnerability.
Oh,
which you
absolutely.
have to have.
Absolutely.
But you can't have vulnerability if you're unsafe.
Yeah. and that, for me, as I've got older, and the thing that I've realised more about myself, if I do not feel safe somewhere, the first thing I always say is, I am going home.
No, this is the thing. That's the same thing I'm learning is I don't attend everything. There were times where, like you feel like you're going to miss out, but the truth is, I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Sometimes
That's safe for me.
the thing, like what our friend Gambinga does is, Gambinga, you will see him like probably first 5-10 minutes. And then the next moment, like, where is he? Man is gone.
And it is that sort of emotional, psychological
that's beautiful,
feeling
though.
safe. And, you talk about some of our conversations. Conversations which I've had with Longani over the couple of years, we've worked closely together, and on this podcast there, I can only have because I feel safe.
Yeah.
That's it.
And feeling safe, then actually you feel as if you're gaining from it there. That inner side of yourself can actually come out a bit more there.
Yeah.
And that gives you a bit more strength as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of my big things. If I don't personally feel safe, whether it's physically or mentally, that's it. I'm out. And there's no conversation. It doesn't matter.
There's no explanation.
There's no explanation. The one thing that you'll hear out of me say, I am going home. And I will. It don't matter if I'm on the other side of the world or I'm in London. As soon as I say to anybody, I am going home. That is where you're going to find me. There's no point trying to ring everyone. Oh, Alicia's gone missing. Alicia's gone missing. No, what did Eleasha say? If Eleasha said she's gone home, that is where she's gone.
I hope we've made you feel safe.
Absolutely. I've never once stood up and said, I need to go home. I need to go home now.
No, but remember, but to be honest, this has been long time coming because I did mention a while back, you know,
Yeah,
that
you
we will
did,
try and because for me, I think I again, like this conversation has why it's been fascinating for me is because it's not only just about just, you know, makeup. Because I think for me, why sometimes, you know, people will put, you know, use makeup and stuff. It's again, it's about, you know, how do you want the world to see you?
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I'm on the I'm sort of like doing like some pre-production for a documentary around, you know, like the psychology of ink, looking at things like, you know, tattoos and stuff, why people do that, and it's exactly it factors in, you know, because whatever it is that we do is intentional.
Yeah, it's
you
about
know?
being individual. Like, I have tattoos, and I remember people, oh, why did you do that to your body? Because I wanted to be an individual. I wanted to be different.
Yeah.
You know, and again, if you look back at, say, the 70s and the 60s, and I miss those times. Like, when I look at the pictures and I see my granddad and stuff, and he's got his shirt on, he's got a tie.
I'm like a granddad.
Hey,
She's a
no,
baby. She's a baby.
I have seen pictures of my granddad, and I think, oh my God, he does look so handsome. And now you see the generations where they're walking around with bonnets on their hair, and they've got sliders on, or they're walking around in their pajamas, and it's like, again, our mental health has taken such a toll. Our self-appearance has also gone. And they always say with depression, that's the first thing that goes, is your appearance. You stop caring about yourself. So this is why, like, makeup and skincare comes into it, because even though you may be frightened, or you might have bad anxiety where you don't want to leave the house, but just putting on that lipstick in your bathroom just to go and wash the pots can just make you feel so good about yourself, you know, or that you've got a new face wash and it makes your skin feel really nice. It just lifts you that little bit more.
That's it. No, that's true. So after this, I think I'm gonna go to the body shop.
We don't have the body shop anymore.
So is it the body shop?
Like,
That's how long you've been.
No. You made a whole. There's something that's akin to where the body shop used to be. Upstairs, there's still like a shop that still sells same stuff as what the body shop used to. And then I thought, you know, like at the mall, near Virgin, there's like a shop that used to, or they closed it down.
Oh, body care, yeah, that's gone.
Oh yeah, body care, yeah.
That's gone.
Is
That's
it?
gone.
What?
That's gone. Again, we're still going through, obviously, a recession, aren't we? So things are closing down and things are opening. But again, that's again what can make being a black business owner very lonely. You're seeing big companies going under, and you're scared. Like, am I going to be next?
You're going to be next, yeah.
But I think sometimes, again, going back to my point I was making, with your circle, what you have around you is resilient. There's so many people in that group what's had to pivot somewhere within their business, and you learn from them about pivoting as well.
You'll have a bit of agility, haven't you?
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
For me, for example, I do bridal makeup, and I love doing bridal makeup, but it's becoming now so insaturated. You're not as busy as you used to be. But I've then pivoted to what I still enjoy, and it's education. So I'm getting more busy on my education. So it doesn't mean I have to do as many weddings as I did before, but I can still be part of something that I still enjoy.
Yeah.
So again, it's always about pivoting. Like my friend Natalie Brown, I think she's an amazing beauty therapist. She's a wax specialist, and she had 2 businesses. She had one on Surrey Street in town and one on Ecclesall Road, and she could see what was happening, and she pivoted and just thought, right, I'm just going to have one location, you know. And and you're seeing other businesses what are collapsing because they can't keep the two businesses. So again, you're learning from your group of people that are around you. And, you know, Natalie Brown does inspire me because I just think, wow, she's, you know, she's still doing it. You know, it could have been an absolute collapse, but she made it work.
Mm.
Yep. Brilliant stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's been fantastic.
No,
haven't
it's
you?
been a
Oh, you're welcome.
You know, one thing I've learned also, which I will, again is going to be my takeaway, is I think it's about being brave also.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the idea that as much as we are fearful, you know, like around business, around, and also trusting people to be around, be part of our process.
I'm going to go with passion.
With passion.
Because one of the things I used to often say when I was in education was to say to young people, have passion in something. Passion drives you.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Passion just sort of gets you up in the morning.
Oh, absolutely.
It keeps you going all day, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I did the Mobile Awards and I was there for nearly, 24 hours.
Yeah.
And, I did the first day was 7, maybe the next day was 15 hours straight. You know, do something you enjoy because if you didn't, if I didn't enjoy that, I want to go home. I want to go home. So
If you get that chance to just follow that passion,
Oh,
then
absolutely.
follow that passion there.
Absolutely, and make it into a business. Whatever that passion is, you can make it into a business. You don't have to go full out. You can just make it a little side hustle for a little bit, and then change it into. That's the same thing I did when I was still teaching at the college. I started my bridal business, and it was just as a side hustle.
This might be our side hustle.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much
You
indeed.
are
It's
welcome.
been great talking to
Thank
you.
you.
No, yes,
Thank
this
you.
has been awesome. I mean, it's been awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope it's been all right for you.
Oh, I've really enjoyed it. I was a bit nervous at first.
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, safety matters because I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
I felt safe.
Yeah.
I opened up about things that I wouldn't normally talk about.
Well, the thing is, that's one thing we've been really pleased about is that Longani and I seem to be able to get comfort. We're quite comfortable with one another, and hopefully that sort of goes across to
It does.
other people as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
Because otherwise, people are scared. I mean, actually, initially, I was quite sort of like people I knew who were big characters, big characters, and they'd come and they'd go, oh, I'm a bit scared. I go, hold up.
Yeah. Yeah. Because again, you're coming out of your own comfort zone, isn't it? And again, like we were saying earlier on about, it is about doing something that you're anxious about.
Oh, yeah. Actually, even when we started this podcast, I think we were kind of, well, I had been in that game for a while. I'm kidding. I'm
To
kidding.
you then.
No. But I think there was that sense of, where are we going with this thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but then when you suddenly realize that sometimes it was like an extension of what happens for us in the office, you know, that those conversations we have and stuff.
And I
know.
think, we all, there's nothing better than when you've had a good conversation.
That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
No,
You know,
that's
you
it.
really go away sort of like, oh, God, I'm reconnected with that person again. And you feel good.
No, but
Absolutely.
it's the same. It's the same because it's like I remember the last conversation we had at the gym. It was a natural conversation. You know, like sometimes I think we are afraid to put ourselves out there and just say, you know what, I'm just going to talk about everything and anything in between, and then it turns out to be okay. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said there, like obviously there's things that I.
Trends